Hey everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are on episode 48, part 2 of the M's. Mm-hmm. Yes. I had to stop and think about that for a second. But before we get started, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content, and of course hit that bell icon if you want notification of future content.
Also, you can follow the link below to see all of our social media.
All right.
So, we had to go back.
We did.
We finally got a game that we were looking for.
We did. We finally picked one up that we had been wanting to pick up. Well, you'd been wanting to pick up since we heard about it.
Since it came out. Yeah.
And then I just thought it looked interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, this is the hot game right now is Apiary.
How could you beat bees in space, right?
Yes.
So, Apiary is an interesting worker placement, is essentially how it's played. Well, essentially the main mechanic of it. The interesting part of this one is that your workers age, and I know other games have done that before. Matter of fact, the first one that comes to mind is Village, where the workers age and die. This one, they just hibernate. They don't die. But with Village, you never get them back.
No.
When you're out of workers, you're out of workers. These you can re-recruit up to a certain point where, you know, everybody is hibernated and the game is over. So you can usually get each one of them go through twice, I guess, maybe. Thereabouts. Anyway. But these are what your workers look like. They're these little bees. Look like they're little bees set in dice. Oops.
Yep.
Set in dice. And they start out at a 1 or a 2, depending on your faction, and then they progress up to a 4. And when they hit 4, when you have to call them back after they've hit level 4, then you not retire them, you hibernate them. This one has, without going into a lot of rules on this one, because we just went into an extensive, brief rules breakdown on our podcast. So if you want to hear more about it, definitely go there. And we also shared all of our thoughts on that one too.
Yep.
I really like this one.
Yes.
This is it's an interesting worker placement. I feel like there is a lot of room for this a lot of room to explore in this one.
Oh yeah, we've played it a couple times. There's still a lot of.
We've played this 3 or 4 times already, and I have enjoyed every play of it so far. And I'm looking forward to getting more.
Not really complicated at all. It's actually rather simple.
It really is. Yeah, everybody starts with their hive faction, and throughout the game, you are upgrading it to get better powers. You start with a simplistic power, and you get better ones as the game goes on. You're building onto your hive mat. The artwork is gorgeous, and all the mats are completely different. So I feel like that gives a lot of room for variability. It's a great one. So I'm glad we picked it up. But anyway, that is Apiary. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on it because we did just do an extensive breakdown on the podcast. So by all means, watch that or listen to that. So yeah, this one will definitely stick around. I'm looking forward to exploring it some more. But that is Apiary. Oh my goodness, that's heavy.
Next we have Master Criminals, a game of mystery.
All right, this one. All right, I picked this up at Goodwill a long time ago, and I picked it up because of the shape of the box. I just thought it was unique. We opened it up to play it, and well,
there's a lot of wasted space.
This is all that is in the box. The rest of it is all wasted space. So, yeah, it's an older game. So, I mean, okay, now you're gonna. Oh, all right. I was gonna say, what are you doing? All right, so this one is very Clue-like. Everybody starts out with one. There's 3 different types of cards. Whoops. Well, that was good. I'm just going to throw them around now. How, where, and... I'll start over. Okay. How, where, and why. And everybody starts off with... Oh, and there's also a who. I was going to say I'm missing something.
Yeah,
there's a
it's
who.
all written right there.
So you've got 4 different types of cards. Who, why, where, and how. And everybody starts off with one of these in their hand. And this plays up to 6 players. If you have less than 6 players, you take the leftovers and you shuffle them into a deck of question mark cards that all have the same categories on the back. So the idea is that everybody has their information on who they are, where they killed somebody, how they did it, and why they did it. And the person to your left is trying to guess this information before the person to his left guesses his.
Yep.
So it's kind of a round robin question and answer, but all the questions have to be yes or no. As you're going, you are drawing cards off the top of the deck. If you get a picture card, if there's not 6 players, and you get one of the item cards, then you just simply jot it down on your notepad so you know, well, obviously, no one is the drunken gambler because I just pulled him out of the deck. Great. I know I can avoid that question, that line of questions.
But you can't ask if anybody is.
No, yeah, that's the key, though. You cannot say, "Are you the drunken gambler?" You have to say,
creative in how you're asking the question
Yes.
without saying anything on the card.
yes, do you have a propensity for drinking? Or do you like playing poker? Whatever. You've got to you've got to ask a question with a yes or no answer that will lead you to this is the person they are or not. So, like the Who's, you have the eccentric inventor, the rumpled detective, the drunken gambler, the obese movie star, the long-haired painter, and the neat secretary. Yeah, and all the others are very similar to that type of thing. So it was an interesting game. I mean, we played a 2-player. We were hoping to get a 4-player game of it, and it just didn't happen. I would be curious to see how this plays when you're not pulling any of these out of the deck and everything is
Everything's
just
a question. Yeah.
Because
you can't guess unless you draw a question card.
Right. And you can only ask the questions based on the card you pulled up. So if I pulled this card up, all I can do is ask questions pertaining to why. I may already know why you did it. I don't have a choice. I can only ask questions pertaining to why until I know everything, and then it doesn't matter what category I pull up, I can just solve it.
Right.
But you got to be the first person to solve it. That's basically how it plays. It was a cute game. It was Clue, but a little more thinky. So I thought it was interesting. We're going to hold on to it. I thought it was very unique. And we did enjoy it. I would be curious to play it more player, see how it works. I imagine it'd be very similar, just not as many cards being pulled out of the deck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Master Criminals, a game of mystery. We're going to hold on to this one. This sits in the travel collection.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. Next we have Masterminds. The regular Mastermind and the kids Mastermind. And we have another game kind of like this, but it's too far down the file for me to
I was going to say,
yank it
did you
out.
want to bring the other one out? But all right, we'll get to that when we get to it. All right, so these two are exactly what they sound like. Mastermind is a pretty classic game.
Yes.
These both play identical. The only difference is this has little pegs that actually go into the slots, whereas this is little animals that just sit into little recessed holes on the board, little recessed divots on the board. But otherwise, they're the exact same thing. This one, you have a combination of 4. This one's only a combination of 3 because it's meant for kids. So the idea with this one is one person is the clue giver or the clue maker. The other is the clue guesser. The clue maker, and I know they had different terms for that, but you get the idea, sits behind this little shield and comes up with a code, or it's code maker and code breaker. That's the 2 terms they use. So the code maker is on this side of the screen and is setting up a series of 4 pegs. And then the code breaker is trying to guess those pegs. The only clues that the code maker can give to the code breaker is in the form of these little red and white pieces to say, yes, that color exists in the pattern, but not in that location. Or, nope, that if you don't put anything in there, then the color isn't even there. Or, yes, that color exists and you have it in the right location. So, and then there's pegs over here on the side. pegs over here on the side where you can keep track of your score.
Keep score if you're playing lots of rounds.
Yes. So it's a classic game. I felt like do we need both of them? I don't know. That we never really talked about. I'll have to figure out how that goes back on there. Oh well, I'll fix it later. But at the same time, I don't know. We never really talked about whether to keep them both. So let's come back to these when we get to the other game. We'll make a decision then. How's that?
Okay.
Okay.
I guess.
All right. Anyway,
What?
let's move on.
Okay. We have Masons.
Masons, this is a Euro game, for sure. We got this one a long time ago.
At a local convention.
Local
that was
convention,
not Gen Con.
no.
It was called
Hoosier Con.
Hoosier Con.
Yes. We only played it once or twice when we first got
it. Twice.
Once when we got it, and then just now.
Just now, yeah.
And it sat in our collection for a long time because there was space. We hadn't run out of space. We moved it over to the travel collection a while back because of space. I honestly thought this was going to hit the sale pile before we started. I really did, because I just did not have any real memories of it. But, okay, so here's your board. Oop, let me get it out here. This is your board. Pretty blasé.
Yep.
So that's your board. The way this one plays, it behaves like an area control, but it's not really.
Yeah, it's not an area control at all, because
So-
anybody can build in any area.
Yeah. And even once an area is started, you can continue to add on to that area.
Yes.
So the way this one plays, everybody has, well, actually all of the resources sit out in front of you. You have 4 cards in your hand. You start the game, you start the game with 6 cards, I think it is. You start the game with a number of cards. These are all scoring cards. It's the only purpose of the game. The only purpose of these cards, anyway, is
It's
to
to
score.
making what's on the card
Yes.
happen so you can get the points for them.
Exactly. So what happens, at the beginning of every turn, you have to lay a wall out. So you lay one wall out. Oops, if I can get the bag
Well, you
open.
roll 3 dice first.
I thought you had to lay the wall out first. You have to lay your wall out first, because you remember if you
sure.
roll the dice
Yep,
first,
yep,
you lose
yep.
a point. So you lay a wall out on any of the wall lines out here.
That's
Doesn't
open.
matter which one. The only rule is, once a city is closed, you cannot lay down inside of it. That city is permanently closed. That part of the board is off limits. After you've laid your wall down, then you roll the dice. One of these dice indicates the type of tower that you have to put out. What color tower you're going to put out on one side or the other. If you've laid down in between 2 other towers, then you can ignore that roll. The other 2 show the color of houses you're going to put out. And you're going to put a red house and a pink house, one on each side of the wall. So as the game progresses, you're going to have a board full of walls and full of these houses. And then as soon as you score your city, you score a city by closing it off. When you close off an entire area, the city is scored. Immediately, you have the option of removing a wall that will combine it with another city. But you have to remove all the walls out of that would connect those 2 cities together. And then you start combining your houses into
Mansions, was it?
cathedrals, mansions.
Mansions.
But you combine for every 2 of one color you have, you take them off the board and you get the bigger, you put the bigger one out. The game ends when all of these are gone, all of these are gone, or all of these are gone. You would think these would be the first to disappear, but they're not. It was the walls.
Yep.
So every time a city scores, now you look through your cards and you can pick 1 or 2 and score them. Some of them score specifically on the city that was just built. Others will score on things that are not in the city. It's just conditions on the board. You score those 2 cards, you draw back up 1 card. Thus your hand size is lowered down. Or you can trade in 1 card to draw 2 if you decide not to score anything at all. So your hand size is fluctuating. You're getting different score cards throughout the game with the idea that, to score the most points. That's basically it. It was actually very intriguing. It was interesting trying to puzzle it out. I still lost.
Your favorite term, puzzle it out.
So we're going. Yep. This is in the travel collection, and we're going to keep it there. I thought it was a very unique game. We don't have anything else that does this type of thing that isn't in your face area control. Anyway, so, but yeah, that is Masons. No walls, no power. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I had never looked at the tagline on it.
Neither did I.
So, anyway, it is in the travel collection. It is going to stay there. A very unique, very different Euro-style game. I like it. So, yeah. All right.
Next, we got a big game. This is Massive Darkness, but this is not Massive Darkness
First
2.
edition.
This is first edition
Yes.
Massive Darkness.
Yes. Now, this is, okay.
You really want to get it all out.
No, because, and actually the
minis aren't even
in here.
Another box.
Yeah, they're in a different box. The only thing I do want to show is we purchased this one a long time ago, and ironically, we got it specifically for
the
miniatures, and then we ended up liking the game. And I understand 2 supposedly does it better. I don't know. I've not checked into what 2 does because I'm afraid to find out it's better, and then all of this is for naught.
Yep.
And we enjoy this game, so why not, right? So one of the things that we found very different on this versus Zombicide, and this is very Zombicide-like with all the tiles and the moving between grids and spawning rooms, yes, all of that kind of stuff. This one has a scenario or a campaign style. You can play it campaign style where you actually have character sheets. And throughout the campaign, your characters will level up. They get better. They get new skills and whatnot that you can use throughout the dungeon. This one has 5 different levels of treasure, 5 different levels of monsters, 5 different levels of skills. 5 different levels of treasure. So, did I already say? I said treasure, monsters.
There's a lot of treasure.
Treasure, monsters. Okay, I guess I did say treasure. Yes. Throughout the game, as you're progressing through the dungeon, then the levels get harder and harder. And as it does, as you move from one tile to the next, the monsters get worse. The guard cards get worse. The door cards never change. But boy, those guard cards get nasty after a minute.
Yep.
So, we've played through the entire base game years ago.
And we never got through the Lightbringer experience.
Yeah, okay. Well, we just started the Lightbringer series with friends of ours. And so far, I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed this game. It is
I think what's really cool is that you are leveling up on your thing for the different levels of power, but when you're in level 1, you can only use the powers that are listed in that section. Yeah. And you don't get to use your level 2 till you get in the second area.
Right.
So you might have a 5th level power, you can't use it unless the dungeon has a 5th level, and not all of them have 5
No, the one
levels.
we played the other night only had 3. Granted, it was the first scenario in this this campaign, but still. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I'd forgotten how much fun it was. So I'm looking forward to continuing this campaign with them. So anyway, that is Massive Darkness. If you have played both this one and the second one, tell us what's different. I'm curious. I guess I could just go out and watch videos and see, but let us know if you like this one better or the second one better, if you've played either one or both preferably. But anyway, that is Massive Darkness. This sits in our collection and will stay there. All the miniatures, we have a whole crate full of miniatures that came with this that will not fit in this box. So yeah, but this is just the base box. Anyway, that one is staying.
Next we have, this one's actually a little bit older. A lot older. This is Masters of Venice from R&R Games.
Okay.
This one we picked up at Gen Con, of course.
In 2015.
Yep. And because we just got back from Italy.
Yes. We had just gone to Venice.
And we noticed that we were looking at it, and
a year earlier,
the guy from R&R gave us a deal on it, and he says, "I'll have the designer sign it." And he was the designer. So.
Yeah.
So it's a signed copy.
Yeah. All right, so this one, we played it a couple times at 2-player prior to this play.
Right.
And we really wanted to see what the difference was with more players. So we took it to my brother's house this past weekend, and we played it 4-player. It says it's a 90-minute game. It took us
3 hours.
almost 3 hours between teaching it
Yeah.
and playing it. Yeah.
There is so much AP in this game.
There is. All right, so this is the board. This is all there is to the board. On the board, you have a series of favors that are just set, or rumors, I'm sorry, a series of rumors that are set out in the canal. And there is a little gondola piece that is roaming, that this basically marks your rounds. So you're marking your rounds, and whoever bid the least amount to go first, whoever is in last position for that round, gets to move the gondola and take the rumor that's there. And the rumors have benefits throughout the game. Essentially, this is a worker placement. You are putting your worker out, or actually you're bidding as to where you're going to put your worker. Going to the same place doesn't stop anybody. Nope. The whole point of doing it this way is that
somebody can't change their mind.
Right, because there's a follow mechanism in this. Everything here in the center, you get to do. But if you do any of these actions around the edge, including the dock area here, then first you take your turn, but then clockwise, everybody else gets to do the exact same action if they choose. So if you know that Joe's going to do the dock action, well, then I can go do what else I want to do because I know I'm going to get a dock action anyway. So therefore, everybody bids secretly as to where they're going and then reveals at the same time and goes there. More than once, we were like, well, shoot, I guess I shouldn't have done that because I could have saved my action. Yeah. So you're bidding for turn order. You're bidding for which position you're going into. And again, it doesn't stop anybody. And then throughout the game, the stocks are going up and down. Everybody, whoever has at least 2 of one of the stocks gets control of that board. And there's 3 pegs on here that are controlling the stock price, the supply price, and the orders. How many somebody is willing to buy.
How many you can sell back or buy.
Yes, or use for to do a delivery, that type of thing. And then there's a whole bunch of cubes in here that are out on the board and that you're collecting throughout the game. I liked it better at 4-player.
Yes, I definitely
liked it better at 4. That being said, it was still one of the most fiddly games.
Oh, it is definitely fiddly, just basically because of these boards.
Yeah, these boards. This is what did it. Because you are constantly moving these pieces around. By the end of that 3 hours, my fingers were raw from moving the pegs around. And it's not like it's just a little cube that you're moving from spot to spot. No, these are pegs.
The holes are exactly the size they need to be, so that they fit in there tight.
I mean, there were turns I was moving 6 to 10 pegs at a time because stock prices were going up or stock prices were going down. Meanwhile, orders were going up and down and on multiple colors at once.
That's why I barely put it in there, just enough to hold it in place. You guys were all pushing it in there.
And it has the asymmetric powers. I like that too. That was, again, another thing.
Well, those are the draft powers, kind of like Puerto Rico.
Yes, it has that Puerto Rico feature with all the different drafting powers. As a whole, I liked the game. I like what it does.
Yeah.
I do not like how fiddly it is and how they don't fit in there very well, no. I don't like how fiddly it is. I don't like the process of accomplishing what you have to do.
Yeah.
And how, I don't like the way the stock market works in this. I don't. This one's been in the travel collection for a while. We're going to go ahead and let this one go. I don't want to have to try to teach it to anybody. Ironically, one of the best parts of the game is a player aid we had to download off of BGG. It didn't even come with the game. So bravo to whoever uploaded that sucker. But Yeah, this one's gonna leave the collection, I'm afraid. So, but that is Masters of Venice. I like what it does. I just don't like how it does it. So, yeah. All right.
Next we have Pirates of the Caribbean Masters of the Sea. We got in a 4-player game.
We needed a bigger table.
And yeah, because this doesn't have a board. It just has islands. And there's a certain way how you count out how far you can go.
Yeah, this is
by
your board.
rules. Yes, it's just different islands.
This whole series of islands. And
then that's
this
the
is
resource tray that sits on the
this
that's
is an
the
island
main
too.
island.
This is it's right here.
No, it doesn't say
Nassau?
what it is. Yes, that might be Port Royal.
Port Royal. Okay, that is Port Royal. But you are okay. So everybody's ships. This was okay. Let me do this. So everybody has a different color ship, like so, that you are moving around the table to get from island to island. And you are moving by the roll
That's
of the
right.
dice using this guy. And no matter how, depending on how many movement you move, you literally do this number across the table to figure out where you're going or where you're going to land.
A bigger table would definitely would work.
Our table, I love our table.
It's long, but it's
It's
narrow.
long, but yes.
It's just under 3 feet wide,
I would love to actually do this one on the dining room table,
which is a lot wider.
which is a lot wider, fully extended, and the islands could actually be a decent distance away. I think that would be a blast. We had a good time with this.
Oh yeah.
So, and that may be in part of who we played it with. I don't know. It was definitely something unique. We've never done this before. The basic goal of the game is you are playing a specific pirate.
Right,
And you have goals. You have treasures
specific
you have to
treasures
find.
You have to find.
And these
But
treasures,
you can lose those in battle, too.
yes, you can lose them in battle, or if somebody else finds the treasure you need, you could go take it from them in battle.
But in that battle, you could lose your stuff.
You could lose your own.
And then that pirate can just hold on to it for the rest of the game and make sure you can't win.
Yeah, he's still a little bitter.
Yes, because that's what happened to me.
So, I thought it was interesting. I love I like the production of it.
No, it was a blast to play.
I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
Because I just like the way the game ended because Jeff took my stuff in a battle that I had it all set up. Oh yeah, I'm going to get this. I've got so much to go against him, and then he had something just nullified everything. And the next time around, it was to me. I could fight you and stop you enough for Jeff to get back to the port to win the game, or I could just say, I'm just going to go over here and do something and let you go through. And that's what I did, because the person who was going to win the game if I did was the one that had all my stuff. So,
lesser of two evils, huh?
yes. I live with you, not him. So,
Anyway, this is Masters of the Sea strategy game. We had a great time with it. This does sit in the travel collection. I think it would be a lot of fun at an event.
yes, it would.
On a big table, stretched out. I think it would be a blast. So, but this one's going to stick around. Yeah, that's a good one. We liked it.
Okay, so this is the other one that's like the Masterminds.
Masterminds,
This is Murder Mystery Mansion.
And I forgot.
This is a giant staircase.
It is. I think it's actually pretty cool the way they do it. So they have little trays for all of the cards, which keeps it all nice and neat. But this is your staircase, and it has the sides, so it basically creates.
And then the mansion sits at the top.
Yeah, the mansion sits up here, and that hides the code that your code maker is putting together. And in this instance, instead of being a bunch of colors that you're guessing, you are guessing the who,
person.
the how, the where. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's the why, the motive, and
the
the
why.
where.
Yeah.
So you're guessing all of the, again, the same things you were guessing in this one, only in what is it called? Mastermind. Yeah, in Mastermind form. So this time, instead of little pegs to say,
you got little tokens
you are
that go
told
there.
you have 3 of them correct. You have 1 of them correct. Obviously, if you've got it correct, it's in the right place because there's little colors down here saying what they are. And there's only one place they can go. But you're told whether you have 2 correct or 3 correct or 1. None correct. If you've got none correct, great. Eliminate all of those from your piles and move on.
Yep.
I
enjoyed this a lot more than I did Mastermind.
Yes, I did too. I love the attachment of the theme to this one.
Yes.
I really did.
Thank you.
I'm going to stick this underneath so it doesn't get damaged. There we go. But I like the way it looks. I love the production of it. It's just fun. So that begs the question, Mastermind is the classic, even though we enjoy this one more, what do we keep? Because essentially, these are all exactly the same.
I enjoyed this one more.
Well, yes,
That's
so
my
do
vote.
I don't know. I feel like between the 3 of them, these are going to come off the shelf faster, but I like this one. So I don't know. I don't feel like anybody's going to even know what this is my problem. So, but I'm not going to get rid of it because I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. So what's the debate again?
If we're keeping all of them. So like this one is geared totally toward kids. Do we keep one for just kids? I don't know. I think we have some more thinking to do on this one.
This is for kids. Wow, I don't even 6 and up.
Okay.
Are we catering to kids 6 and up?
This is that's a very good point. We've said we're going to try and get that collection down to 20.
There we go.
So it sounds like Mastermind for kids is going to hit the sale pile. And we'll probably hold on to these 2 only because this one is a classic. Mm-hmm. People know what it is, but when they see the box. And this one's just plain fun. So, all right, so there you go. There's the decision.
That's
Mastermind for kids is leaving, and these guys are sticking around.
Yep.
All right. That's that.
Next, we have one game we've had for a while, too. And This is a Mayfair game, Market of Alturien. This is a Wolfgang Kramer game.
Yeah. And this was another one I wasn't sure. Okay, so this sits in our collection. And always has.
Kramer?
I think you did.
It's Wolfgang Kramer. I believe
Kramer?
Pronounce it.
Kramer? I
think
know.
I've heard it say Kramer.
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, this is a 2 to 6. We've only ever gotten to play a 2-player. I think we've decided this is one we want to try for our next 24.
Mm-hmm.
So, spoilers. So, the one thing I don't like about this is the size of this box. This box is huge, and the board has been folded up to this.
They had extra Concordia boxes. But the bad thing is Mayfair did not do Concordia.
No. So I don't know where this box size came from, but whatever. All right, so this is a fairly large board. I'm not going to unfold it all the way, but just so you get an idea. So the board is basically made up of a series of roads and stalls all the way around this enormous board. And there's all different colors. So the idea is you are building out your markets on the different stalls. You're building up your businesses. And on your turn, you have to roll the dice. You move. There are 4 different types of figures in this game. The gold figure buys at triple the price. The silver figure buys at double the price when he goes to your stall, and the bronze figure buys at regular price. And then you have the thief.
Gustavo.
Gustavo, yes. He goes around stealing from the stalls that he lands in front of. So you are rolling 1 die and moving 1 of the figures that many numbers. If you don't like what any of the bronze, silver, or gold are doing, then you can move Gustavo and then roll again to move one of the others. But you have to move them.
Yep.
If they land in front of your stall, if you can make that work, then yay, you get money for that for that landing in front of your stall.
Depending on how many.
Depending on how many pieces you
Stacks
have
you have
out.
there.
Yes, because you can stack them on top of each other. and it's a multiplication type of thing.
Yes.
This guy buys it double the price. If you have 2 there, it's 2 times 2, so you get 4 coins. If this guy lands there and you have 2 stacked, now you get 6 coins. So you get the idea.
And I do like the fact that if you forget how much they buy, they have the little plus signs on the back of it to tell you how many.
And on the back of Gustavo is 2 negative signs.
Well, there you go.
So, but, okay, so you're rolling the dice, you're moving the figure, then you can purchase, and it all is actually laid out on these cards, and I do like that.
Yeah, those are really good.
These were really nice. So you can then purchase and increase your stands, or you can purchase extra cards. These are bonus cards that you can purchase throughout. It's an interesting game. I had forgotten how strategic it can be.
The only downside of it is, one, the box is
Paper
way too big
money.
for what it needs, and it has this paper money that we've never used.
Nope.
We have metal coins we use with it.
Yeah,
It looks more thematic.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I do not like the box. I wish I could cut it down, and believe me, I have tried to figure out. I mean, I probably could, but I don't really want to destroy it. I'd lose the artwork, and I like the artwork. So we're going to hold on to this one, because after having played it last weekend, we were both
Wanted to see.
Yeah,
we want to see how it
I want to
plays.
see it play at 5 or 6 players. So I think this may be one we pull out for the 24. I think this would be an interesting one. It's bright and it's colorful and it's a big board.
And we know a bunch of people would probably like it.
Yes, yes. So anyway, that is the Market of Alturien. We're going to hold on to it. I'm curious to see how it'll play. After how many years of owning this thing? I think we've had it since 2015.
Since we worked with Gen Con.
2015,
Worked for me for
2016.
Gen Con, yeah.
Something like that. So anyway, it's going to stick around.
Okay. Next we have Meadow. And we got to play the Downstream expansion with it.
Okay. So we first got to play Meadow at the Dice Tower Retreat a couple years ago. It was just the 2 of us. Matter of fact, we've only ever played this 2-player. And we really enjoyed it. It was very, how was it described? Somebody described it as just very serene. It was just very calming. And it was, I mean, it is a very serene game. The artwork is beautiful.
Tell people take your the cards you want.
And then you just wait for new ones to come out.
I won't say who, but oh, you already gave it away. We only played it together.
Somebody's a source board. Okay, so this is your main board. This has the mechanism where, kind of like, okay, and I always refer back to Quadropolis because that's the first one I ever played with this mechanism, where everybody has little pickets that go on the side of the board in the little triangles. And when you put your number 4 picket in, you're counting 4 spaces over and you're taking the 4th card. Or if you put your number 2 in, you're taking the 2nd card from whichever direction you're going. You just can't come from the top. Up here sits the cards that feed into these rows. And the idea is that you have a habitat card. You start off with 2. And you can build out your habitats. And one of these is just solely habitat cards. One of the rows is all habitat cards.
Yes.
And the others are animals and other land features that will build on top of it.
Because the other row is to do the little...
The photographs,
the trips or whatever you
the
want to do.
hiking trails, yeah. So you are trying to build up your meadow. You can only go 10 across with your habitat cards. But then from then on, you have to go up. If your habitat card has a worm on it, then you need something that uses a worm as a prerequisite to go on top of that. Or it has to have that particular habitat to go on top of it. But you're trying to take cards out of the middle that will work with what you already have. And you have a hand, so it's not like if you take this one now, you have to play this one now.
You can take it.
You can take it to build up to it because you know you're going to need it. It is a really interesting game, but it also has the campfire ring, and it varies based on player count. So there's multiple, if I can get my fingers on it, there's multiple rings that the back side of the fence pickets that you use here have a special ability that you can use on the campfire if there's no cards you want. But there's also tokens out here that play off of the cards, and you can claim bonuses there if you are the first one to have them and to claim them. this was a good game all by itself. We added Downstream to it, and Downstream adds. I've got every. Oops, okay.
You just threw the waterfalls.
I did throw a waterfall token. I don't know why it's out here, but that's okay. Downstream adds this board. It adds more cards, water cards, and water terrains, and then it adds this river. And there's two different sides. You've got this is the lazy river, and then you've got the rapids. And you've got a boat that, of course, is not easily present, but that's okay. So you've got a boat that is moving down. Oh, it's right here. It's right in front of me. Jiminy Christmas. So you've got a boat that is moving from the start spot over here and progressing up the river, and you get victory points based on where you end up. And then there are also some special bonuses you get as you pass them. I think we decided after we played this that this is what we are going to consider an essential.
Yeah, I think this is one of those that the expansion, you probably won't want to play without the expansion after you've played with it.
And I like the base game. I really do.
But this adds a lot more to the game.
This is one of those expansions that I feel improves the game without changing the game.
Right, yeah, because the gameplay's still pretty much the same, although now you have another board to keep an eye on. Yes. But another board to help you with what's going in front of you.
You've got more cards to consider.
Another
habitat. It adds so much without changing the core mechanism of the game. And I like that. You don't have to learn a whole new set of rules. I love that. So, but yeah, that is Meadow. Absolutely love this one. It sits in our collection. It's going to stay there. Yeah. It's a good one. Highly recommend it. Okay.
The last ones are all Marvel games.
Yes.
So first off is Marvel Dice Thrones. And this is all we have of the Dice Thrones period. What? Oh my goodness.
And we didn't even play with that one this time, so it's been like that for a while. I wonder which friend punked you and did that. Because I know we have several friends who say they're going to just come in here and start turning boxes. All right, so Marvel, and this is throwing me because this is sideways up here. So, all right, so Marvel Dice Throne it's a dice battle head-to-head. You can play in pairs.
Yep.
It'll actually play up to 6, I'm told. And you just play teams. The dice rolling is all Yahtzee style. I mean, I like what it does. Okay.
I like each player pack has its own area.
I really like that. Yeah. So all of your players, when you decide who you're playing, there you go. There's all your stuff. Everything you need is right there. So every character comes with
their player board.
Whoops. Comes with their player board.
A roll explanation card.
Explanations of all of their little side pieces and various things that are specific to them, how to play their deck. A specialty set of dice. All of their little tokens that they can throw at people to have different effects, different status effects, which are outlined all right here. Then you've got your health counter and your not damage counter. This is a combat points. It's combat points. This is basically the points you're using to put out cards.
Yes.
Or to do certain things. You have to have these. And then everybody has a deck that is specialized to them. Well, Loki happens to have 3 extra cards that determine whether or not his illusions work. They work, let me tell you. So you're playing out, you have 4 cards in your hand at a time, and you are playing out those cards based on your combat points. So you gain a combat point every turn, and you're spending combat points throughout the game. You're rolling dice to attempt to make one of these combinations here to do your special abilities. And then
there's cards that'll upgrade them too.
Yes, and there, matter of fact, I just had one out a second ago, but I don't know where it went. But so you're rolling your dice. You have 3 chances to roll. You don't have to keep any.
No.
You can re-roll the whole thing. That's the one thing different from Yahtzee. But you only have 3 chances. At the end of the third roll, you have to choose something or you're pretty much done.
Yep.
Yeah, you do nothing. So you decide which power you're doing based on your roll. You throw damage. Oh, thank you. You throw damage at your opponents or at the other team if you're playing teams. And then turn passes. You take damage. Sometimes they'll throw damage at you, and when you throw damage at them, they'll turn around and hit you right back. Something they have will do damage to you, because I know Scarlet Witch, she had no defensive stuff, but if you hit her, she hit you back. Potentially. I never actually rolled that roll. So, all right. I like what it does. I love the Marvel theme. And I understand there is a lot of dice thrown out there that is not Marvel. We're big Marvel fans. Shockers. You love this.
What's the question?
Oh, no question. I know it's staying.
Okay.
I just don't care for it. I don't like the head-to-head. It's not my kind of game. But I definitely see the appeal to it. To people who like these kind of games, who like those combat card games. I get it. Just not for me. Luckily, I know your son loves this game. So I'm sure he will be happy to play it with you anytime you want. And he has the one we're missing. So
he
there
has
you
the
go.
other one.
Yep. All right. So anyway, that is Marvel Dice Throne. Greg loves it. I'm
You don't like it? I like it.
Yep. But it'll stay. It is a good game. Like I said, I can see the appeal to it. I just don't care for it. So, but yeah, that's that. Next.
Next is Marvel Champions. And there's nothing in this box except for the tokens, right?
Tokens, rule books.
We have a lot of Marvel Champion stuff. We ended up stop collecting it just before the X-Men stuff came out because there was a lot of it that we had not played yet. It was like going, why are we continuing to buy expansions when we haven't even done anything with the rest of it?
All of the tokens and stuff. I'll show a picture here. I thought about getting it down, but
that thing's heavy.
It's heavy. And we did show it off when we first bought it. We showed it off in one of our acquisition videos. But I will show a picture of it here. This is it's a case, a card case I found on Etsy.
Oh, you're talking about that.
The case, yes, I'm sorry. It's a card case I found on Etsy. I found the dividers on Etsy from a different, what do they call
Maker?
them? Maker, creator, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they work together really nicely. But, okay, so this one is, again, this is a cooperative.
Yep.
It is a deck building.
It's not really a deck
Or not building, I'm sorry.
You have a set deck.
Yes.
It's a cooperative battle.
Card battle game.
The bad guy.
Battle card game, yes. But yes, there is a central bad guy that you are trying to fight, a central
He is
villain.
the evil doer.
Okay, we're back to that again, huh? Anyway, so there is a central deck that you create at the beginning of the game with schemes in it or plot twists. No, I'm going back to that's legendary.
Different game.
Yeah, that's legendary. But anyway, it has different things that happen throughout the game. Every character has a set of 5 or 6 cards that if your scheme or I can't remember what they call them now.
I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it. Your weakness.
Okay.
Is basically what it is. I can't remember the actual term for it though.
Yeah.
But
well, everybody has one card that depicts this weakness or their whatever they're calling it. I'll put it here. Hopefully I remember to. Oh, okay.
I might find it in here while she's
Maybe.
talking.
Okay. So anyway.
Keep gabbing.
Whatever. Anyway, so if all of those cards get mixed into the villain deck, and if that card comes up pertaining to you, or if one of the other heroes pulls it, then all of the rest of yours go into that deck and things happen throughout the game. The last game we played, we didn't even use them. That Kang didn't have that card in the deck. It told us to set them aside.
You had to get a separate thing.
So yeah, we didn't actually use them, which was different. So everybody, all of the characters have an alter ego and then their hero side. In alter ego form, then the villain is just scheming. That's all he's doing. In hero form, the villain is attacking. On the plus side, if he's attacking you, then he can't scheme. When he gets to a certain scheme level, that's how you lose the game. So you don't want him to scheme very often, but at the same time, they usually hit pretty hard. You can't keep taking damage because you can't heal till you're in your alter ego side. So, and you can only flip once per turn. So it's a fine balance between how damaged can I get, because if one person is killed, that ends the game. Did you find it?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
It's an obligation card.
Obligation card.
And nemesis cards.
And nemesis.
And side scheme cards.
okay.
Depending on who you're playing.
Okay. So every hero has a number of these cards that they just take out of their deck at the start of the game.
And they put
and
it
then
in
the obligation cards go into the villain deck.
The evildoer deck.
The rest of them are held aside for the first person whose obligation card is pulled. And then those are all shuffled into the deck. But it's an interesting card game. I enjoy this one mostly because it is cooperative. We have about a 50-50 ratio on winning this one. We did not win against Kang.
No.
It was a long game, and then we still lost.
Yeah.
It was close, though. But it's a good one. I really enjoy this one. So, not as much as I do Legendary, though. I still enjoy Legendary more.
Love Legendary.
I do. I think it's just because it's just so simple. And maybe because we've played it so much. That's why it's simple. I don't know. But anyway, Marvel Champions, it will stay. This does sit in our collection, and we've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed every play. But yeah, that is Marvel Champions, the card game.
Next we have Marble. And we're going to do some marbles. Marvel Remix.
This is an interesting little game. So the idea with this one, if I can get all the pieces out, there is a deck of remix cards and a deck of villain cards. And everybody starts with one villain card in their hand and 6 cards out of this deck. So you're always going to have 7 cards in your hand at any given time. So you're looking at your cards, and some of these cards play off of each other. Ultimately, this is your victory points up here in the corner, no matter what card it is. However, the ability down here may change those victory points. So the basic idea with this one is you have 2 decks sitting in the middle of the table. You can pick which deck you're going to pull from. You draw a card, you add it to your hand, and then you discard something to the middle of the table.
Yeah. Now you can draw from the discard.
Yes. And then from then on, you can draw from one of the 2 decks or from the discard, one of the laid out discard cards, because you don't just discard into a stack. These are all laid out where everybody can see what you're discarding, because they may need them.
Yep.
So you're curating your hand throughout the game by picking up cards and laying different cards down. And then when this tableau gets to 10, game's over.
Yep.
Ends immediately as soon as this hits 10. And then you go through your hand and you score your points. It's that simple.
You score your points in your hand if you have a villain and a location.
No, hero. You have to have
that's right.
You have to have one villain in your hand. You have to have one hero in your hand. If I had discarded my villain and never picked another one, my
doesn't
score
matter
is
if you
0.
had the most points in your hand.
Yeah,
you don't
your
score.
score is 0.
This is basically a retheme of Fantasy Realms.
Yes.
The game plays exactly the same.
It was an interesting one. It plays in like 10 minutes.
Yes.
At least with 2 players. But it is curating your hand. There's no better way to describe it. You are trading in cards, trying to find the right mix of cards to score the most points. I have yet to win this one yet. Yeah. Anyway, but that is Marvel Remix. Fun little card game. We're going to hold on to it. All right.
So we're going to end this
Last but
with
not least.
Marvel Villainous, and we have an expansion for it.
Yes, we do have one expansion. All right, so we've already talked about Disney Villainous. Back, actually
in the D's?
No, actually in the E's, because it was
In
one
the
we,
E's?
yeah.
Oh, why did we have to go back for it?
Because I had it listed under Villainous-Disney in my spreadsheet, when I made my list, and then when
That clerical error strikes again.
yes, it happened a couple times right there. And then when I was putting everything into BGG, I realized, oh crap, I have Disney Villainous in BGG, but it's not on my spreadsheet. It's down here on the spreadsheet. So we had to move it around. But anyway, so this one's in the M's. This plays essentially the same. The biggest difference with this one, like I said, essentially, you still have all of these really nice figures. I really like the figurines they use in these. Although these ones, I feel like the Disney ones are a little better.
Yeah, these are cheaper because they're just hollow plastic.
Yeah.
The ones in Disney are resin.
Yeah, the ones in Disney are much nicer. I will agree there. Same basic concept as far as power chips with the middle thing. Everybody's...
Warmonger's mask fell off from day one.
Yeah.
I don't know
if it's supposed to or not, but anyway, so everybody has, if I can get it to open, well, I know it opens, doesn't it? Yeah, there it is. These are thinner too.
Yes, they were.
I feel like these are a lot thinner than the Disney ones. But everybody has their player board, like so. They're just a lot harder to open up because they don't have the overlay. So, it plays essentially the same. You're taking your guy, you're playing cards out. At the start of every turn, you have to move to a different location, and then you can do the abilities of whatever's there. And each one of these, and there's a reference card that gives you everything. But on the back of the reference card also tells you what everybody's objectives are.
Yes.
And that's the goal with the Villainous games, is that everybody has a different win objective. So your win objective, like, let's see here. Thanos' win objective is to collect all 6 Infinity Stones. Done. You collect all 6 and you win. Period. Ultron's is that you must reveal Age of Ultron after completing 3 upgrades in this order: Transformation, Optimization, and Ultimate. And then there's Taskmaster and Hela and Killmonger, and then there's 3 more in that one.
You got Loki, MetaMask, and MODOK.
Okay. And each one has a different goal. Each of their decks are geared toward obtaining that goal.
Yep.
So at the start of every turn, you're moving your person around, you're figuring around. They never leave your board. They're always on your board.
Yes.
All they do is tell you which section you're now in and what actions you're going to get to take on that turn. If somebody plays a fate card on you, then it covers up the top action and you can no longer use that action until you get that fate card off your board. Fate cards are, in this game, fate cards are all one deck.
Yes.
And that's where the big difference is.
Yes.
In Disney, everybody has their own that is geared toward that character. And you can decide who you're fating against. Whereas in this one, you pull the fate card, you might get to decide who plays against, but chances are it goes to a specific person. And then you just simply place it on that person. It might even be your own.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
it could definitely be your own. Yeah.
We've played this one twice now. We even bought the expansion hoping that would help. It didn't.
I think it's because of the way the fate cards played. Everything else was pretty much the same. It was just the way the fate cards, since they're all joined together and dealt out.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, I'm going to go play a fate card on you to stop you, and then you draw your own fate card. Now it's going to go on you.
Yeah. It's definitely different. Well, you get to draw 2 and you can choose, but
if you draw both of them, it's yours.
Yeah.
And there's some, if it comes up, no matter what, it has to be played.
Yes, that's true. There are some. This one has sat in our collection along with Disney Villainous. And while we kept Disney Villainous and all of the expansions we have for that one, this one's going to go to the travel collection. I want to see what it does there before we just out and out
get rid of it.
We'll see. It just didn't hit with us. If I'm going to pull out a Villainous game, I like the Disney version, and that's probably what we'll stick with. I had hoped it would be because I love Marvel. However, it just did not hit. So, but anyway, that is Marvel Villainous, and it is going to move from our collection into the travel collection. And with that, that is it for this episode.
Yep.
That is the second episode of the M's. please let us know if you've played any of these. I would be curious, especially some of these really obscure ones, because we have a lot of obscure ones on this one.
And what your thoughts are on a lot of these.
Yeah.
Did you agree with us? Do you disagree with us?
Are we doing something wrong in Disney in this one? Okay. Is there something we're missing? Because I feel like there's got to be something we're missing in this one, but I don't know. We've played it a couple times now, and
Yep. And both times we didn't like it.
yeah. Actually, we've played it 3 times now.
Have we?
Yeah. Anyway. But that's it.
Until then, we'll see you at the next one.